This video is for dividing polynomials using long division. We're still doing degree 3, so we're dividing cubics. All right, so we're going to divide a cubic by a linear and a cubic by a quadratic. So determine the quotient h of x by dividing f of x equals fx cubed minus 20x squared by g of x equals x minus 4 using long division. So we're going to set up the problem as regular long division. So what you're dividing goes underneath the division bracket. And then what you're dividing by goes on the outside. So we're going to divide the leading term, fx cubed, in the dividend by the leading term, this one, x, in the divisor. So how many times will x go into 5x cubed? Or what do I have to multiply x by to get 5x cubed? So we know we're going to have to multiply by a 5. And then to turn an x into an x cubed, we need to multiply it by an x squared. So 5x squared. The other way that you can look at this that is sometimes helpful is you can do it this way. So 5x cubed divided by x. You can break this down. So you can break it down into 5, and then x cubed is x times x times x divided by x. If you have the same thing on the top and the bottom, they cancel, and here's what I'm left with, 5 times x, which is 5x squared. So sometimes having a visual to kind of eliminate helps with that division. Okay, so then we multiply 5x squared, through the divisor and place the products under the dividend, lining up like terms. So we do 5x squared times x, which would give me 5x cubed, and then 5x squared times a negative 4. So 5 times negative 4 is a negative 20, and then tack on the x squared. All right, we subtract the terms by adding their opposites. So in regular division, you would subtract what you put underneath. So in this case, subtract means you're changing the signs. So this becomes a negative 5x cubed, and this becomes a positive 5x cubed. So positive 5x cubed and negative 5x cubed cancel. Negative 20x squared and positive 20x squared cancel, leaving me with a 0. Then we determine if any values for a variable would result in division by 0. So if we do x minus 4 equals 0, x would equal 4. And so my answer would be h of x equals 5x squared, where x cannot equal 4, because we cannot divide by 0. That doesn't, you can't. Okay, so now let's do a cubic by a quadratic. So we're going to set up the problem the same way, set up a regular long division problem. So what you're dividing goes underneath. And then what you're dividing by goes on the outside. Okay, so divide the leading term, 7x cubed, in the dividend by the leading term, 7x squared, in the divisor. So again, we're doing 7x cubed divided by 7x squared. We can break it down, 7 times x times x times x divided by 7 times x, and then start canceling. So the 7's cancel, this x cancels this x cancels this x, and I'm left with a single x. So, and you line it up over like terms. So I would put that x right there. And then you multiply it out. So we're going to multiply x by every piece. So all it's going to do is it's going to change the power on all these terms. So 7x cubed, negative 26x squared, and then 15x. And so you want to line up again the like terms. We subtract by changing the signs. So this becomes negative, this becomes positive, this becomes negative. And we start to cancel. So these cancel out. Now this doesn't. 2x squared plus 26x squared is going to make a 28x squared. Negative 89x and a negative 15x is going to make a negative 104x. And then again, in regular division, we would pull down what's next. So we're going to pull down that plus 60. So we multiplied the x. We lined up the like terms. So now we got to do this again. We're going to divide the leading term, which is 28x squared now, in the dividend by the leading term, which is this one, 7x squared, in the divisor. So this is what we're dividing now. So we've got 28x squared divided by 7x squared. So 28 divided by 7, you could do that. But 28 I could break down into 4 times 7. And then x squared is x times x. 7x squared is 7 times x. So the 7's cancel, the x's cancel, these x's cancel, and they leave me with a positive 4. So I would write plus 4. And then multiply out. So 7x squared times 4 is 28x squared. Negative 26 times 4 is a negative 104x. 15 times 4 is a 60. Subtract by changing the signs. So this becomes negative, this becomes positive, this becomes negative. And in this case, you can see everything are opposites, so they all cancel and leave me with a 0. All right, so we multiplied 4 through the divisor. We lined up like terms. Now we're going to subtract, so we subtract the terms. All right, determine if any values would make this 0. Okay, so one thing that you could do, you can factor this. So you could do slip and slide on this. So if we do 7x squared minus 26x plus 15. Now this doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. So I'm going to slip the 7 to the end. Let me get where you can see everything. Okay, so I can do 7 times 15 would give me a 105. Plus 105. And then I can factor 105. So let's see here. I need two numbers that are going to add or subtract to make a 26. Well, 105 is the same as 21 times 5. So I could do x minus 21, x minus 5. We slipped the 7 to the end, so we have to undo that multiplication by dividing. And then we simplify. 21 over 7 simplifies to a 3. 5 over 7 won't simplify, so I slide the 7, slide the denominator. And I can factor it, and then from those factors I can solve for 0. The other option that I do have, in a case like this, it's not as accurate, but you can always graph it. And then you can find your zeros. So menu 6, 1. So here's one of my zeros, but again, this is not very accurate. It's going to be this one. And then menu 6, 1. Here's my other 0, which would be this one at 3, 0. So for sure, if x equals 3, we'd be dividing by 0. For this one, the easiest thing to do, honestly, is once you get your factors, you can menu 3, 1. 7x minus 5 equals 0, comma x, and then change it to a fraction, 5/7. So those would be my two zeros when x equals 3 and x equals 5/7. So how I would write my answer, h of x equals x plus 4, where x cannot equal 5/7 and x cannot equal 3.